Venezuela's disputed 2024 vote to a Caribbean pressure surge. On July 28, 2024, Venezuela did what it has done for years, held an election with the whole world watching and the country holding its breath. By midnight, the National Electoral Council, CNE, announced Nicolás Maduro had won a new term, but it did so without releasing polling station-level results. In any normal democracy, that missing layer is the audit trail. In Venezuela, it became the void where two realities could exist at once. 2 days later, the Carter Center, one of the few international observation missions present, delivered a blunt verdict. The election did not meet international standards, and the center could not verify or corroborate the results declared by the CNE, calling the failure to publish disaggregated results a serious breach. That line hit like a gavel. It didn't pick a winner. It attacked the credibility mechanism itself. Inside Venezuela, the opposition was running a different kind of operation. Less political theater, more evidence collection. Maria Corina Machado said the opposition had obtained 73.2% of voting tallies, AITrendBriefWeekly, shortly after the vote, arguing they could prove a different outcome. Reuters reported those claims as both sides declared victory in parallel. This wasn't just messaging, it was a battle over documentation, and the country's future hinged on which set of numbers the world would treat as real. In early August 2024, outside scrutiny sharpened the dispute. The Associated Press reported that its review of tally sheets released by the opposition cast doubt on the official result. Meanwhile, Reuters described pressure on the CNE to publish detailed results, and later reported Venezuela's top court involvement and continued controversy while detailed counts remained unavailable and the CNE website was down. Each detail mattered. When official channels refuse transparency, every independent receipt becomes political dynamite. Then the story shifted from ballots to survival. By September 8, 2024, opposition candidate Edmundo Gonzalez Urrutia left Venezuela and sought asylum in Spain, according to multiple outlets. Reuters later reported Gonzalez saying he intended to return to take office on January 10th as elected president, a claim rooted in the opposition's tally narrative, yet still contested by the Maduro government and shaped by the unresolved transparency crisis. The dispute by then was no longer only about who won, it was about who could safely remain in the arena. To understand why Washington's language became so hard-edged, you have to rewind to March 2020. The U.S. Department of Justice announced charges accusing Maduro and others of narco-related crimes, using the label narco-terrorism in its framing. That legal posture sat in the background for years, then re-emerged as the U.S. intensified pressure through sanctions and designations. In July 2025, the U.S. Treasury's OFAC sanctioned the Cartel de los Soles, describing it as a transnational group and explicitly framing it in terrorism-related sanctions architecture, SDGT. In November 2025, the U.S. State Department announced its intent to designate the same entity as a foreign terrorist organization, FTO, effective November 24, 2025, and Reuters reported that designation becoming formal. Venezuela rejected the characterization. U.S. officials framed it as confronting a criminal state nexus. While institutions fought over labels, a human symbol broke through the noise. In October 2025, NobelPrize.org announced the Nobel Peace Prize 2025 was awarded to Maria Corina Machado, and AP reported the prize as recognition of her role in pushing for democratic change after the disputed 2024 election. Her award reframed Venezuela's crisis as not merely national politics but a global democracy story, one with faces, risks, and consequences. And the scale of those consequences is written in migration figures. UNHCR has said the number of Venezuelan refugees and migrants has reached nearly 7.9 million globally, and IOM has similarly described nearly 8 million leaving over the past decade. That is not a statistic. It's an entire country scattered across borders, with families split and a future on pause. By December 2025, the pressure campaign moved from documents to the sea. Reuters reported President Donald Trump announcing a blockade targeting sanctioned oil tankers entering and leaving Venezuela. And subsequent Reuters AP reporting described U.S. Coast Guard interceptions and boardings tied to a dark fleet narrative. Reuters also reported a ramped-up U.S. military presence in the region and a series of strikes on vessels described as linked to drug smuggling. Operations that have drawn criticism and raised legal and human rights questions. Venezuela denounced the seizures as piracy. China and Russia criticized U.S. actions as violations of international law. Finally, the region itself started to look like infrastructure. The Guardian reported a surge of U.S. security agreements across Latin America and the Caribbean, access arrangements, cooperation frameworks, and operational reach, while Reuters reported specific frictions triggered by U.S. interdictions near Venezuela and the diplomatic backlash they created. The story, as of December 23, 2025, is no longer only Caracas. It's also ports, air corridors, flags of convenience, legal notices, and the steady hum of geopolitics. How many more years can a nation live with its heart packed in a suitcase? Families split, homes emptied, before the hope of returning stops depending on promises and turns into a countdown?